Hi everybody. Today I'm going to show you a new tool that we got in last week. A couple of weeks ago I showed you a tutorial on Technique Tuesday on how to make these great flowers. Well, this tool helps that process along and actually comes with some pre-cut flowers. So, it's an Imaginess tool. This one is the fabric petal roller. There's also a paper one which has a thinner opening at the end here. And they also have some pre-made fabric flowers that are already cut, ready for you to go instead of having to cut your circles and cut them all out like we did in the tutorial. And they also have some paper ones as well. And they come in a variety of colors. Each of these comes with different colors in the packages, and they're double-sided, which is great. So here's the paper ones that are open. These ones are the warm colors, and there's also cool colors and neutrals. You can see them on the front, and they're double-sided. They're different on the back than what they are on the front, which is nice. You can get a nice variety of flowers. So I'm going to start with the fabric ones today. So here's the tool when it's out. It's got an embossing tip on one end, and it's got a little notch here on the other end for you to hook your fabric in. This is the flower that I've made with the fabric one this morning. And so each package comes with 3 different shapes of flowers and 2 of each one. So you get 6 pieces in the package. This is the third one that I've done, and it had wider, shorter scallops on it than this one. And then this one has your pointy ones. So I'm going to show you how I made this particular flower using both of the 2 of the same shapes here. So I did one roll, and I left it fairly loose on the outside, and this one was tighter on the inside. So I'm going to show you the basic technique, and then I'm going to show you how I put it all together. So you're going to start with, I'm doing this upside down, hopefully so you guys can see it a little bit better. I'm going to start with the tooling across our flower this way, and you're going to stick the edge of the fabric right into that little notch that's on the end. And you're going to roll it in towards the fabric pattern, okay? So, and then you're just going to keep rolling it around until you get all the way to the end. And I'm just going to do this fairly quickly here to show you the basics behind it. Now once you get to the end, you're going to pull your tool out, and you're going to have your flower all rolled up. Once you let this go, it sort of allows you to shape and loosen your flower up a little bit. Okay, so to start, I'm going to start by putting my fabric flower into my little tool, and I'm going to roll it around until I get all the way to the end. I'm going to do my outside flower first so that it can be sitting there ready to go. Alright, now once I pull my tool out, I'm going to just sort of scrunch this in my fingers a little bit so that it holds the shape a little longer. Because it's fabric and not paper, it's not going to hold its shape as well as paper. So I'm just going to scrunch it a little bit so that it doesn't unravel right away. And then I'm just going to let it open up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make it about the size around as the little landing pad is here. So I'm going to unravel it so it's approximately that size. And I'm also going to make sure that my petals are offset a little bit. Okay, so it's going to be approximately that size in there. My petals are offset, they're lined up at the bottom so that they sit flat. And then I'm just going to start adding glue a little bit around the edge there. I'm going to add a little bit of glue and hold it in place. And then I'm going to keep working from the outside in on this one. And loosening out my flower in the middle. Okay, so we're going to have one more drop of glue in here. And then a little bit on the end. Just to hold it all in place there. There. So now I have the base of my flower all ready to go. Alright, so I'm going to start here again. I'm going to stick my fabric right into my little notch here, and I'm going to roll it for maybe 2 of the scallops. And then I'm going to add, with my I-Bond glue gun here, a little bit of glue just to hold this in place, to keep this center nice and tight. I'm going to roll it for maybe another 2 of them and add another little bit of glue here. That was a big bit of glue, I guess. And just roll it around till I get, I'm going to do it maybe one more time here. And now I'm going to have a nice tight center for the inside. So now once I have the center of my flower done here, I'm just going to keep rolling this around until I get to the end again. I'm going to pull my tool, and again I'm just going to scrunch it a little bit so it holds its shape a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this landing pad and this landing pad on the big one, and I'm going to glue it on top of it, just like this, so that it sits right there on top of it. So I'm going to hold this in one hand, get my glue on here, and stick it inside the flower, and glue it right on top of each other. Alright, now I can let it open up, and it's not going to open any more than what the outside shape was that I just did. So now I'm just going to finish my flower off by gluing it all the bottom pieces onto this landing pad here. Okay? So I'm going to put a lot of glue onto this landing pad. And because it's hot glue, you have a little bit of give, but not a lot. So I'm going to put a lot of glue on there, and I'm going to start with the outside and get that outside glued down. Now, because this will unravel in the middle of it, I'm going to twist it back up with my hand so that I can make sure that I get this one right in the center, and it pulls my flower and makes it look like it's one continuous little flower petal. Now, with this one here, I actually took the outside petals and sort of creased them back because they're fabric. They'll finger press a little bit, just to give it a little more dimension to it. I went around with the outside. You could also ink the edges of these if you wanted to, spray them with glimmer mist, add some stickles or distress stickles to them, give them a little bit of shine. You can add these to pages, cards, altered projects, headbands, brooches, whatever you want. So that's the fabric ones. Okay, so now I'm going to do the fabric ones, and so again, they come with 3 different sizes in the same color pattern. They're different on both sides. I've already punched out these 2, and they're right here. And you're going to do this the exact same way that we just did the fabric ones. You're going to stick your tool on here. Now, there's a paper tool that has a skinnier entrance on it, which I don't have, but this fabric one is working perfectly fine. So, again, you're just going to stick it in there and roll it around until you come all the way in to that center piece. And then these ones hold their shape a little bit better, like I was saying, so you can play a little bit to see how big you want them. If you want them to come out a little bit, the longer you let them sit there, the more they'll unravel. Or you can do it manually yourself. And then just add a little bit of glue and stick it on. Now, if your landing pad happens to be too big for where you glued this on, you can always trim that down on the bottom. So I would probably trim this one down a little bit with just my scissors. And then the fun thing with the petal ones, the paper ones that work really well with the stylus on the other end, is if you just put your thumb on the inside and hold the ball down near the base of the petal and just pull it forward against your tool, it rounds the petals really, really nicely. So now it's flattened out nicely, and it looks perfect, ready to go. On the weekend, when I was trying them out, I used the 2 off of here, and the color colors match so perfectly to the paper that Jen Hall was using on her layout that I gave them to her to throw in her layout, and now you can see here the page that she finished with them, and look how absolutely adorable they are when they're put on scrapbook pages.